Now, great news, Elodie's just got her shoulder press, her straddle press from the floor from that seated position. Today, we're going to compare her beautiful shoulder press and my ugly shoulder press and the things that I need to improve on to tidy mine up. I'm struggling to get mine off the floor without dragging the heels. So let's first compare hers and mine. Okay, and then let's have a look at mine first off the floor. So this is where I struggle. My hips don't like it, my feet drag. I have to use a lot of bouncing to get into the position. I have to find my hands by pushing them right back towards my hips and then push. See, I rock backwards. Push, no. One more. So once I can get through, I can get up. And if I raise my hands up, I can get through easily. So if I use something like these IKEA steps, I can get into my straddle position so I can climb into it. So this way I can straighten the legs and I can push up to my press and then come back down again. Because there's no restriction or no limitation because the floor has now moved further away. But let's look at Elodie's position again, see if she can get another one, and watch how she gets good clearance off the floor. Oh, even better one. So what are a few things that I can do right now to help me make it a bit cleaner off the floor and get mine to look a little bit more like Elodie's? I could cheat the position from the floor, so not raising my hands up, I could climb into my straddle position from here, resting my legs on my arms from the start, then extending, and now I'll still get toe touch, but it's a cleaner position. So I can sort of fake the floor position like that. But ideally I want to do it from that seated position. So number one, I need to open my mobility up. So let's just do some quick straddle mobility work now to maximize that position. So I'm going to sit down in this position and I'm going to spend time, I'm going to speed it up for you guys and take this position much deeper. Then some dynamic open and closing the position. Now it's one thing opening up the mobility, and I would say that's the first thing you need to focus on. A lot of people go into the compression work, which I'm going to go through now, but they don't quite have the mobility to close the position. I think we're trying to get our torso closer to our legs, closer to the floor. If you can't do that from a mobility point of view, you're not going to do it from a compression point of view. But once you do have some range there, we can start to think about lifting the legs up towards the torso instead of bringing the torso down towards the legs. Now this can be quite horrible, quite crampy, but let's have a play with some variations. So first just see the range we have. So I'm going to place my palms on the floor. So in that position, Elodie's going to see what she's got as well. So palms on the floor. And then I'm just going to lift my feet up as high as I can. Now notice I'm pushing myself backwards here. Keep those palms on the floor, Ellie. That's it. You can hold in that position. Now you can go wider, you can go closer. So more piked, more straddle in that position. And you could just do holds for time. We can also do repetitions, which is really nasty. Now, if you struggle to lift your feet off the floor with palms down, go to fingertips. But if you do have a really good range of motion in your straddle pancake position, I'd recommend that you stick with the palms. So palms down. Come on, Ellie, you got to do it with me. We're going to do 10 reps. So I'm just going to lift my feet up. 1, 2, keep those palms down, Ellie. 3, 4, 5, palms down, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Next, we're going to go into butterfly position. So I'm just going to bring my heels towards my hips, go as close as I can. I'm going to push my knees down towards the floor, try and have a nice upright torso position. Elodie can get hers flat in that position. Okay, now we're going to add the nasty bit. So I'm going to place the hands inside the legs, again, palms down towards the floor, point the toes, so the toes are touching each other, and then I'm just going to extend the legs and come back down again. 1, 2, is the tongue out necessary? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, that's quite nasty. So time to test that again. We're going to see whether that's improved now my push off the floor and the ability to not drag so much and be able to get up from just this seated position to a straddle out. Elodie's going to go first. I need a longer rest. Nice, okay. Feeling a bit more pressure now. So I'm using a bit of momentum to get up, but it definitely came up much easier than that first repetition. Next, I'm going to do slow eccentrics. Now, the cool thing with the eccentrics is it allows you to go really slowly through the movement, through the pathway. So it's a great exercise for learning the press to handstand in general. So if you're still working on a floor press handstand, you would do the same thing, kick up to handstand, come down really slowly, finish with tiptoes on the floor. And we can do the same with the shoulder press and really focus on trying to keep the feet off the floor for as long as possible. And if you needed to, you could even raise the hands up a touch on some weight plates or a piece of wood. So if I do it for my shoulder, I'm going to kick to straight handstand first, open to straddle. And now I'm really going to focus on this bottom section. So trying to get as much flexion through the spine there while bringing the legs down and forwards. So trying to skip the floor. See, I'm touching and lift up, hold that straddle position. So the goal is just trying to keep my feet and my legs as close to the torso as possible and scoop them up. Now you can there play with the distance your feet are apart. So I could go more split out to the side, or I could go more pike. There's pros and cons for that. So the closer you have your feet together in pike, the higher your hip is, the more clearance you have, but the longer the lever arm. If I go more straddle, my legs are further apart, so more space to get through, but it drops my hip quicker. So I recommend you play with both. Okay, let's see if Elodie can do a slow eccentric. So her handstand balance isn't as strong as mine yet, so she might struggle with the slow control on the way down. Let's see. So she's going to kick up to a straight handstand first. Yeah, open to straddle. Yeah, now come through. Yeah, so a good example. So at the moment, she could work on her eccentric, her slow down, coming through to a straddle L, but more from a balance point of view for her. If she increases her balance, she'll be able to bang out repetitions of these because she already has that control and that mobility, that compression to get through without touching the floor, but it just happens a bit too fast at the moment. And then the other way to train it is just repetitions. And I recommend you do a mixture of all of those different things. So let's have a bit of fun with it. Let's go 5 reps as fast as we can. I'm going to go head to head with Elodie.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, we both got 5 reps. Now in terms of speed, I won, but in terms of technique, Elodie won. So I was just using brute strength to pull off the bottom, but in terms of technique, in terms of quality, what I'm aiming for, none of those reps really counted. So I need to work more on that earlier exercises, the compression, the flexibility, the slow eccentrics without touching, some hip flexor strength, some glute mobility. Those sort of things are going to really help me, and stuff that I've been shying away from because I tend to enjoy the strength stuff more. Elodie needs to work on her balance and control, and then hers is just going to get better and better and better. If you're after improving your handstand or after a press handstand, check out my app or my coaching. Link is down in the description.
Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.